Welcome to my Simple and Pretty card class. This is Mary Fish with Stampin' Pretty and stampinpretty.com. I hope you're ready to create a card with me today from start to finish. And we are going to create this very simple and pretty card. I call it Two Butterflies on a Wall because we're using this super cool brick patterned paper. It's from Stampin' Up! Here's the one that we'll be using on our card today, but you'll see that it's all sorts of very organic patterns. I love the stones. I love this wood pile. Really organic, very on trend in home decor. I love having it to create cards with. And then I'm also using the Stampin' Up! Celebration stamp set, Best Day Ever, but you can certainly substitute with other ones that you might have on hand. I love this new stamp set, Lovely Amazing You, and I can show you as an alternative. This is how I often line things up, just how neat that would look on a card as well. So that would fit, for example, Love You More Than Chocolate could go in the corner, or You Make Me Happy. All those would fit and look super great. I think this particular style requires kind of a more fun and playful font. So that would be my only suggestion when you're making that decision. So from the Best Day Ever stamp set, I'm going to continue to create the card like we have. I have used this stamp, and you'll note that I mounted it on the diagonal. There's a very good reason for that. I find that when I mount it square with the clear block, sometimes when I'm lining it up, these curved edges that are so comfortable can give a bit of a prism effect, and I can't see as precisely. So I mount my sentiments on the diagonal so that I can see exactly where I'm stamping. I've got more of an area. And I'm going to use our Memento Black ink. On the original card, I actually used heat embossing in black, so that's an alternative as well. And these have a little bit thicker letter, so I flipped it face up, and I'm going to ink it up this direction so I can make sure I've got super good coverage. And I can actually see everything just perfectly. Now I use the grid paper to line it up, and then I can go ahead and stamp again on the diagonal, giving it a good press, half a second to kind of say hello, and it worked beautifully. This Memento ink is just a godsend to me. It is my absolute favorite basic black ink. Next, we're going to grab these butterflies dies from Stampin' Up! I'm going to use this smallest one. You'll see that I have them mounted to a very heavy-duty black magnetic piece. You can get these from Stampin' Storage. I have more information on Stampin' Storage along with a shopping link on my stampinpretty.com blog. Great way to store your framelits dies. And I'm going to go ahead. I have the magnetic platform. Again, I use it for almost everything except embossing. One, what I call very loved, very scratched up acrylic plate or cutting plate. And then I'm going to, the magnetic platform below helps me line this up and keep it in place on its trip through the Big Shot. So I'm going to put another plate on top and grab, all right, my Big Shot grabbed a few other things. I'm going to zip it on through the Big Shot. I don't know what could be quicker and easier than this. All done and ready to go. Now this particular piece measures 3 3/4 by 5. Okay. The next piece of Very Vanilla that I'm going to adhere it to is 1/4 inch larger. It's 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now, probably the most labor-intensive, but super easy part of this card is I want it to have this lift and shadowing. So I'm going to be very generous with some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back side. And I always start with what I consider sort of the key points, the areas that I want to make sure are lifted. So I actually, like I said, start with those areas so that they will have that extra little 3D effect and get some nice shadowing when I adhere it. So you don't get that so much if you just work on the outside corners. You want to keep it nice and close to the detailed areas to give them a lift. So like I said, I'm very generous on this, but I think it makes a big difference. And we'll pull those off in just a second. But this should give me a good lift. I'll put one more here in the corner. So it's not a perfect science, but I don't think there's a card out there where I haven't used a Stampin' Dimensional, or it would be a rare bird. We'll say less than 1% of my cards don't have Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm just making sure. Sometimes if you put your nail, your thumbnail down, it will help it pop up a little bit. They're pretty easy to remove. And this isn't so bad, right? But boy, is it worth the wow factor. Absolutely worth the wow factor. Now, I'm going to take away the grid paper because I want a dark background when I'm lining this up. So I want to be able to really see those ivory edges and be very careful in laying it down and lining it up slowly. I don't even push it down very hard. I just let it sort of sit down in case I have to move it. We are in good shape. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to bring my grid paper back again because I want a white background where the black is so that I can see it. So I'm going to take some snail. You could use fast fuse. You could use liquid multi-purpose glue, whatever your favorite is. I like to use snail for adding my layers. And then I'm going to line it up and put it down. So the last is probably my favorite little part of this card. I'm going to use some mini glue dots. They are perfect for adding buttons. So these little buttons, I already put some of our linen thread on, and I'm just going to pop them right in the middle, right directly to the very vanilla layer. And I'm going to do it the same with the second one. See how quickly we could put this card together? And it is so fun for me to do a card from start to finish with you. I hope you learned a few tips today. So here is our card. And thank you for joining me for my simple and pretty start to finish card video. I have over 100 free videos on YouTube, as well as a daily blog, stampinpretty.com, where you can purchase Stampin' Up! Products, as well as get daily tips, new promotions, and specials. So please stop by www.stampinpretty.com. Bye-bye.